Hello students, welcome to the YouTube channel of NextIS. I am Anil Tiwari. I am back again with another session of daily news analysis. Today we have picked both Indian Express and the Hindu. The major topics we have selected today are as follows. In the prelims section, we will be covering 4 articles, namely the first article regarding Bandipur Tiger Reserve, or let's say National Park, and the issue arising out of the ban of the national highway. The second topic will be on anti-dumping duty that we have put on China. Then the third will be on the impeachment of the judges, the controversy regarding the Delhi High Court judge, and then the fourth article will be on Kurdistan. In the mains section, we will be covering various articles that appeared in the Hindu on tuberculosis, and there are 4 or 5 articles, so we will be covering all of them. And let's start with today's discussion. So the first article is regarding Bandipur National Park or Bandipur Tiger Reserve. It is in Karnataka, and recently again the controversy, or let's say the political issue has come up that the ban on the highway, national highway from the Tiger Reserve should be opened or not. So the backdrop to this topic is this only, that despite the Supreme Court of India upholding a 2009 ban imposed by Karnataka government on nighttime traffic along the 25-kilometer stretch of national highway through the Bandipur Tiger Reserve, the issue is reopening again. It will come under environment and ecology section of your syllabus. So the important part for your prelims will not be this ban on the national highway, but the Bandipur Tiger Reserve will be more important. So you should be very much aware about the map of this area, because there are a lot of reserve areas in this area, and specifically the Bandipur Tiger Reserve. So first and foremost, the location. So Bandipur Tiger Reserve is basically located in the Karnataka, state of Karnataka, and it is located at the tri-junction of Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Kerala. So you can imagine the location of this Tiger Reserve, and it is geographically speaking, it is at the ecological confluence as the western and eastern Ghat are meeting here. So we have Sahyadris, we have Eastern Ghat, both of them are meeting at this ecological confluence. It is the largest national park situated in the state of Karnataka. Remember this fact. Then it is part of, this is important, Nilgiri Biosphere Reserves. So there are various biosphere reserves in India. They have various national park, wildlife sanctuaries, tiger reserves, elephant corridors inside them. This is part of Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. So I will ask a question. What other things are there in the Nilgiri Biosphere Reserves? So answer the question in the comment section. So I have provided a map here. Kindly look at it. This map basically shows what other things are there in this. What other things are there in this area? So you can see this is Bandipur Tiger Reserve. Let me change the pen color. So the Bandipur Tiger Reserve is here. If you can see closely, Wayanad Wildlife Sanctuary is here. Wayanad is also a Lok Sabha constituency. Who is the MP from Wayanad constituency? Recently a by-election has taken place there. So comment in the comment section who is the MP. Then we have Nagarhole Tiger Reserve just above this. Then we have Wildlife Sanctuary, Nugu Wildlife Sanctuary here. Then we have Mudumalai Tiger Reserve here. So remember, it is very sensitive area. It is a very sensitive area. There are so many tiger reserves and wildlife sanctuaries and national parks are there. So this area is very important, and it is confluence of Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. Okay, this is Mysuru city or the city of Mysore. So remember the location relatively also. Alright. It is surrounded by Mudumalai Tiger Reserve in the south, Wayanad Wildlife Sanctuary in the southwest. On the northwest side, the Kabini tributary of Kaveri Reservoir separates the Bandipur and Nagarhole Reserve. So you can see here we have this water reservoir. So it is a good way of learning about a tiger reserve, or let's say national park, that you learn about various other reserved areas around it. Alright. What is the vegetation that is found here? The vegetation that is found is stunted trees, bushes and open grassy patches are there. Then in the eastern limits, In the northwestern region, we find gradual transition from dry deciduous to tropical mixed deciduous forests. Always remember, this is a confluence of eastern and western Ghat. So as you move northwestern region, you will find more tropical mixed deciduous forests. Okay, this is a map of vegetation in this area. No need to go through it deeply, but remember there is a map. Then what is the terrain? Briefly, the terrain it is situated on Wayanad plateau and characterized by swamp and vials. Remember this keyword vials, VAYALs. Vials are there. They are low altitude marshy grasslands. Okay, remember they are low altitude marshy grassland of various sizes which serve as a wallowing ground for herbivores like sambar and wild boar. The central region consists of moderate hill interspersed with seasonal streams and perennial water sources. Moving ahead, we have flora and fauna. So, flora and fauna, we have teak, rosewood, sandalwood, clumping bamboo, Indian laurel, and kadam tree. In fauna, we have Indian elephants, gores, tigers, sloth bears, chosinghas, dholes. What are dholes? Comment in the comment section. What are dholes? Which species is dholes? Then we have cheetal, sambar, grey langurs. Then two important fact about Bandipur, remember for your prelims 2025, very important that according to Elephant Census 2023, Bandipur Tiger Reserve with 1116 elephants has accounted for the highest density of 0.96 per square kilometer, very important. According to All India Tiger Estimation 2022, Bandipur with 150 tiger has highest number in Karnataka. Remember all these two facts. Alright, we will move ahead. We will look at the rivers passing through this tiger reserve. We have Moyar River, which originates from Nilgiri mountain range, and it flows at least 20 kilometers from the tiger reserve, and it is a tributary of Bhavani River. Then we have Nool Puja or Nugu Hul. Then it enters Karnataka from Wayanad, Kerala, travels 30 kilometers from the reserve, then drains into Nugu Dam backwaters. Then Kabini rivers originate in Wayanad. Kerala flows eastward to Karnataka. Then it is a major tributary of the great Kaveri river. Kabini backwaters are formed, located in the northwestern part of the Bandipur, are a vital water source for wildlife, especially during rainy season. So remember, there are backwaters. Which other state has great backwaters in its ecological picture? And they are very famous for tourism purposes. So comment in the comment section. There are certain threats to conservation threats to concerns to this area. Deforestation, as usual, a lot of deforestation takes place in India. Recently, we have done a lot of forestation, but deforestation is also going on. We have fire incidents, and this can be both human induced and natural. We have poaching issue, and a lot of poaching takes place. Recently in news, you have seen news in the both Indian Express and the Hindu that poachers have become tech savvy. They are using digital payments, they are using AI, they are using everything at their disposal to poach a lot of tigers and a lot of elephants and rhinos. Okay, so human animal conflicts is there because a lot of population lives around these national parks and wildlife sanctuaries, and they are of big areas. So there is a lot of and urbanization is also taking place. Rapid urbanization is also taking place. So a lot of human animal conflict takes place, and then we have cattle grazing inside wildlife reserves. That is an issue. Based on this discussion, try to solve this question, and please answer your comment your answers in the comment section below. We will move to the next article. This article relates to the anti-dumping duty that we have put on China because they are dumping a lot of stuff, cheap stuff in India to disrupt the Indian industry and market. So we will learn what is anti-dumping duty, what are the agreements under World Trade Organization, or let's say GATS agreement. We will see that on in a very quick manner. So the backdrop is this only, that we have imposed anti-dumping duty, and relevance is Indian economy, part of the syllabus. What is the objective of this measure? The objective is to protect domestic industries from cheap imports by imposing anti-dumping duties on certain products from China and other countries. Goods subject to anti-dumping duties, there are certain goods that are listed here. They are not important for your prelims perspective. It is just for your information and teaching. For example, soft ferrite cores, vacuum insulated flasks, aluminum foil, trichloroisolate uronic acid, polyvinyl chloride paste resin. So this is just for an example. So we have imposed certain anti-dumping duty on these products. What is the rationale behind it? So I have put a news article, or let's say news. EU also tries to put it, US also tries it. Everybody tries to protect their own industries by using anti-dumping duty. What is the rationale behind anti-dumping duty measures? So these products are basically sold in India or put in India below normal prices. Basically, they are produced at a price, but they are sold in the foreign markets at a abnormally lower price. Why? Why they will do it? Because they want to disrupt the domestic market, harming the domestic producers. Duties were imposed based on recommendation. Who is recommending this? Recommendation from the Directorate General of Trade Remedies, DGTR. Remember for your prelims 2025, who recommends anti-dumping duty? That is DGTR, Directorate General of Trade Remedies, under the Commerce Ministry. The Ministry of Finance, Department of Revenue finally imposes these duties. So remember which ministry is recommending, which ministry or institution is recommending, which ministry or institution is imposing them. They ensure level playing field under WTO guidance. Now, India and China are both part of WTO, you know and I know, alright. So both have to comply because we are part of that bigger organization that is regulating the global trade, and it is trying to establish a fair market, fair trade practices to everyone. According to that only, we impose these anti-dumping duties. So it is very logical. So in prelims, it may appear to you, or there may be a statement that appear that okay, anti-dumping duties are not part of WTO, but don't think like that. Anti-dumping duties are coming under WTO framework only. Then India has previously imposed similar duty to counter cheap imports. China is the second largest trading partner of India. Trade deficit with China remains a concern, standing 85 billion 2023-2024. So you understand, in this context we are imposing this anti-dumping duty because we are still a large partner, trade partner with China. With special note, you should have that we have a large trade deficit with China, around, which I have mentioned the data, around 85 billion US dollars. Now I have said that okay, it's part of WTO framework. So what is this? So first and foremost, what is dumping? You now understand. Dumping is basically international price discrimination, where a product is sold in an importing country, for example India, at a lower price than in the exporting country's market. So let's say a toy is there, that toy is sold for 100 rupees in China, but in order to disrupt Indian markets, they will send it to India at 90 or 80 or 70. So this will be considered as a case for imposing anti-dumping duty. But how do you calculate how much to impose? How do you know whether the prices are lower in the original country, or let's say prices are higher or lower in the importing country? How do you know? So we will go to the GATT, Article 6 and anti-dumping duty. What is GATT? GATT says General Agreement on Tariff and Trade. So there were a time when agreements took place. Within those agreements, this GATT is there. GATT is basically nothing but a rule-based agreement between different countries that okay, these rules should be followed to make the trade fair. So this is a general agreement on tariffs and trade. What tariff can be put on? 1994 फ्री ट्रेड प्रिंसिपल्स को अफोल्ड करता है. आर्टिकल 6 इज कनेक्टेड टू एंटी डंपिंग ड्यूटी. So there are 3 grounds which it mentions. It says that it is causing material injury to the domestic industry. Material damage meaning real damage. It is causing some real damage, some trade loss, certain things. Then it is a threat of material injury to the domestic industry or material retardation of the establishment of a domestic industry. Basically, you are trying to establish an industry. For example, I will give you an example. EV industry. In India, it is materializing. It is getting started. It is getting built by Indian industrialists. Now imagine China dumps a lot of cheap motorcycles, cheap cars, cheap material in India and tries to disrupt that materialization. So the big companies that are coming up in India to produce EVs domestically for Indians, they will not be able to compete and they will go away. So to prevent that, India will impose anti-dumping duty by calculating all these agreements. Now, So this GATT also, I was telling now, how do we know that there is a case for anti-dumping? We know it through investigations, determination of dumping, and imposition of duties. So all these procedures are mentioned in the GATT agreement. How do we determine the duty? So we see that there is a normal value. We see that the price at which the good are being sold in the domestic market, that is normal value. We look at it, and then we see it through different countries. We can observe other countries also. So a similar item in a third country. Basically, for example, we look at Pakistan, or let's say we look at Bangladesh, or let's say other country, and we will see what kind of prices they are selling that good at, and then we will determine, okay, we are having a normal value, abnormal value. Then we have export price, the price at which goods are exported to India, that we will see that. Then dumping margin we will calculate, basic idea plus minus that we will do, and then we will have we will have a anti-dumping duty percentage. So here is an example: $110 per kg, 100 per kg, then 10 will be the anti-dumping duty. Now, can we impose it retrospectively? Yes, we can impose it retrospectively, but there is a limitation that should not exceed 90 days. Based on this discussion, try and solve this question and comment your correct answers, or let's see your answers in the comment section below. Now, the big controversial thing, that is the people have found a large sum of cash, burned cash, allegedly in a house of Chief Justice, or let's say a judge of High Court, Delhi High Court, and the controversy brewed, and people have alleged that okay, judiciary is not so independent, and as it appears, and recently some actions have been taken by respectable honorable Chief Justice of India. He has under the Judges Inquiry Act, he has established a 3-member committee that is the standard procedure to inquire into this matter. And also for the first time, Honorable Supreme Court has also released a video showing that whatever has been found in the house of the judge. So we will discuss how inquiries can set up, how judges are impeached. That is of our interest of the discussion. So backdrop is understood. Indian polity will be the syllabus point. Then we will move ahead. So we will see the constitutional provisions. What are the constitutional provisions are there? So the constitution says a judge may be removed from office through a motion adopted by Parliament on grounds of proven misbehavior and incapacity. So the important aspect for you to remember will be this: proven misbehavior and incapacity. These two grounds are available for removal of a judge. Alright, first thing first. Then, while the constitution does not use the word impeachment, it basically says that it uses the term removal of a judge. Article 124 for the Supreme Court judges, and Article 218 for the removal of the High Court judges. So remember these two articles. I will highlight them for you. Article 124 and Article 218. These two articles will be important. Moving ahead, Constitution is providing that only by the order of the President, a judge can be, based on the motion passed by the both houses of Parliament, a judge can be removed. So remember that who removes Supreme Court judges or High Court judges? They are removed by the order of the President. Who appoints these judges? So remember the rule: whoever so appoints, at least them or higher authority can only remove. So President appoints these judges, so he or she will only be able to remove them. Now, the Chief Justice of India can constitute a committee to examine the role of errant judge at a High Court, or even propose disciplinary action against a sitting judge to a Chief Justice of concerned court order under the Judges Inquiry Act. This is important. Remember, under Judges Inquiry Act, there is an act, Judges Inquiry Act, through which this inquiry has been set up. The committee has been set up by the Chief Justice. Alright, this is important. Moving ahead, what is this Judges Inquiry Act 1968? What it has for the procedure? So Act sets up certain procedure for the removal of the judge. So it says that impeachment motion may originate in either house of the Parliament. Remember this. It is not necessary that it is initiated in the Lok Sabha only or the Raj Sabha only. There are certain motions that can only be initiated or passed by Lok Sabha or Raj Sabha. If you remember any one of them, for Rajya Sabha, one for Raj Sabha, one for Lok Sabha, please try to comment in the comment section what kind of motions that can only be originated in one of the house. Now, to initiate these proceedings, at least 100 members of Lok Sabha or at least 50 members of Rajya Sabha should sign or may give a signed notice to the chairman. Then what the chairman will do? The speaker or chairman, after consultation and examination, may decide to either admit or refuse the motion. Then, if the motion is admitted, then speaker or chairman will constitute a 3-member committee to investigate. Remember this, 3-member committee will be initiated if the motion is accepted. Moving ahead, then what will happen? A Supreme Court judge, Chief Justice of High Court, a distinguished judge. Basically, this 3-member committee का composition लिखा हुआ है. Try to remember it. Supreme Court judge, then Chief Justice of High Court, and distinguished jurist. These people will be gathered at one place to inquire about it. If the committee of judges finds out, if the committee finds the judges to be guilty, the house which मोशन वॉज इंट्रोड्यूस कैन टेक अप कंसिडरेशन ऑफ द मोशन. तो मोशन चालू हो जाएगी. अगर कमेटी को लगता है कि गिल्टी है, देन हाउस कैन स्टार्ट द मोशन. एंड द मोशन फॉर रिमूवल ऑफ जजेस इज रिक्वायर्ड टू बी पास्ड बाय बोथ द हाउसेज with special majority. What kind of special majority? A majority of the total membership of that house and a majority of at least 2/3 of the member of that house present and voting. So basically total membership, majority of total membership and majority 2/3 of present and voting. This should be the special majority. Then once the motion is passed, sent to the president, and president can basically issue the order to remove the judge. Now, some cases you remember, not so important for your prelims examination, but please go through them because they might give you an idea if there is a question regarding this. So we have around 5 cases. 1993 case, 2011 case, 2015 case, 2017 case and 2018 case. But the fact to be remembered is that no judge has been impeached so far. Alright, that you should remember. So based on this discussion, please try and attempt this question and submit your answers in the comment section below. The next article relates to Kurdistan. So UPSC has already asked a question. I'll show you the question. This was the question asked by UPSC. The question was on Kurds, where do they belong to? So it is important that you remember places and people that are coming in news very frequently. We have discussed certain places and people in previous DNA sessions, so please refer to them. And the backdrop for this article will be that the struggle for Kurdistan by the Kurd people, it is a very long standing and complex issue, and it always comes up in news. Recently, if you have seen, they have basically signed a peace accord with Turkey, and there is a change, a government change in Syria. So why these two different countries are very important regarding Kurds? And Iran is also comes under question. Iraq also comes under question. So who are these people? Kurd people. Where do they live and what do they do? So it is very interesting and important to know. And remember, these people have fought the Islamic State very vehemently, and they were the key people to get some success to the other side against the Islamic State. So who are Kurds? They are a nomadic society spread across, now you remember, Turkey, Syria, Iran, Iraq and Armenia. There are 4 or 5 countries and they are spread around it. They are not united. They do not have their own homeland. And majority of them are Sunni Muslims and a few Shia Kurds and some Alevi tribes. So see here the map. So there is a map: Iraq, Iran, Syria, Iran, Armenia is also there. And according to their population, it is written around 8 million in Iran, 5 million in Iraq, 2 million in Syria, 18 million in Turkey. So Turkey is one of the most important countries regarding Kurds. A brief history I would like to share because it is very interesting. It is very interesting. So these are very old tribes. They have lived there maybe for millennia. Now the recent history, if you go to Ottoman empires, these were major ally to Ottoman Empire because they were making basically a human border between the Persian Empire and the Ottoman Empire, the Persian and the Ottoman Empire. So they used to participate as a soldier, सैनिक के तौर पे पार्टिसिपेट करते थे, उसके लिए लड़ते थे एंड देन बीच में बफर स्टेट की तरह क्रिएट करते थे. बट दे ऑलवेज रिमेन्ड एज अ फ्रेगमेंटेड ट्राइब्स. ऑलराइट, दे नेवर गॉट यूनाइटेड in one group. Then 1920 World War II Sevres Treaty has happened, and then British basically gave them some hope of getting independence and getting their own country, their own homeland. But Kurds again failed to capitalize on this. They were divided at that time also. Then Kemal Atatürk and then the republic, let's say the Turkish nation state was established, and basically all the Kurdish schools, so everything was basically abolished, and again the movement started. So from here the various movements started, and there is a long history of these movements. Many organizations came out, many names came out, but the most important is PKK, that is Kurdistan Worker Party, that came out as a leading organization, and it has various names in different contexts. In certain contexts they are called SDF, in certain contexts they are called PKK. They have a fighting wing also that fights against various forces. So they have a fighting military wing also. All these things you will see in news. So remember that there is a long history of movement among the Kurds to establish their own nation, and the resultant is basically PKK. That is one of the major organization that is fighting in different countries. It is not just limited to Iran or Turkey. It is fighting in different countries, and US and EU has designated this as a terrorist organization, but United Nations Security Council in Russia has not, and basically Russia is training them against the fighting. So but recently Assad regime changed, and these people have give away their weapons, and they are coming up with a solution for peace and some autonomy. So this is regarding these people. Where do they live? This is important because there is one location that is important regarding Kurds, that is Zagros mountains. So Zagros mountains are basically considered as a center for this imaginary or hypothetical Kurdistan. So one country they imagine, and the Zagros mountain will be at the center of this. So here you can see the Zagros mountains. So the way Himalaya is formed by the Eurasian plate and the collision of the Indian plate to this Eurasian plate, these Zagros mountain are formed by the thrust belt, was mainly formed by the collision of two tectonic plates, that is the Eurasian plate again and the Arabian plate. So remember, these are two different mountains, sister mountains. One is caused by the Indian plate and the other is the Arabian plate. So these two plates are colliding in the Eurasian plate. One is the Himalayas forming and the other is the Zagros forming. Highest peak is Kash Mastan in the Dena range at 4409 elevation. Then we have earlier human fossil. We have earlier human fossil discovery in the Zagros belongs to Neanderthals. In the Sanidar cave, very important, Sanidar cave already appeared in exams. So remember, this cave is there in the Zagros mountains, and Bishitun cave and Vezme cave. So remember all these caves and ancient history of this area. Now attempt this question, submit your answer in the comment section below. We will discuss today's last article regarding mains, the various articles on TV. Very interesting. You will get to know a lot about TV. So let's jump into that discussion. Alright, so there are so many articles that are appearing on tuberculosis, because today 24th March is World TB Day, and we should all be aware about TB. And UPSC has also asked a question in 2012, and there is a chance that UPSC may again ask a question in 2025. Why? Because 25 marks as a end of one of the major programs we will see. And also we have targeted that we will be eliminating TB from India very soon. So these two things makes it very important for you to study. And so I will tell a little bit about certain diagnostics, then some medicines, then what is drug resistance TB. Then we will go for certain initiatives, the evolution of initiatives. Then we will go for challenges and solutions. It will be a very brief and breeze discussion on TB. So hang on. So again, World TB Day is being celebrated, as you know, today, that is 24th March. Then we have this topic in GS2 or GS3, both ways it can come. It appeared in GS3 in Science and Tech Health. So remember that it can appear in GS3 also. The question was on MDR TB. What is MDR TB? That is multi-drug resistance tuberculosis. The question was that what do you understand by the term multi-drug resistance? We will understand this. Then what measures would you advocate for its containment, and what are the implications of its spread in the community? TB is just like another disease. It's an infectious disease. It goes from people to people. It is just like COVID, but it is not being cured. The epidemic continues to exist. It is very old disease also. Around 3000 years ago in Misr, in Egypt, there are records of TB, tuberculosis, and many great people have died because of TB. If you remember any one of them, then please mention in the comment section. I believe Ramanujan or Swami Vivekananda, one of them have died because of TB. So it's a very daunting disease, and it spreads from people to people. So the disease is caused by, this might be a question in UPSC prelims, was caused by bacteria named as Mycobacterium tuberculosis. So remember this fact. Then there are different types of TB. It is not just related to your lungs. Pulmonary TB is there. Extrapulmonary TB is also there. And we have latent and active TB, latent and active TB. So in latent form of TB, it is not spread. You cannot spread it also. But in active form of TB, it is spreading in your body and you can give it to others. So these are two types of TB. Now, is it curable? Yes, that is curable. Is vaccine available? Yes, vaccine is available. Then why it is again existing, and why India has such a burden, or let's say why countries in Africa has such a burden? We will look at it at the efficacy of the vaccine. So are we not developing any new vaccine? We are developing new vaccines also. We will look at that also. So transmission happen through men to men, women to women. It is an airborne particle disease which moves just like COVID. And then we have this transmission method also. Then we have this vaccine that is called BCG. Why do we call BCG? So the name lies in the inventor of this vaccine. Two Frenchmen, Albert Calmet and Camille Guerin. These two Frenchmen discovered this basically vaccine by modifying a strain of Mycobacterium bovis, a bacteria strain that causes TB in bovine, that is cow. That has been isolated by them, modified, and then put it in humans, and that developed the resistance against the TB. It was tested in 1921 for the first time. In India, it was tested in 1948. BCG was first introduced in a limited scale in 1948, but in 1962 it became part of the National TB Control Program. In India, it is a crucial part of the Universal Health Immunization Program now, and administered intradermally meaning skin, intradermally, preferably at birth or within the first few weeks. But there is an intriguing fact about this BCG vaccine, that as you move away from equator, it becomes more effective, but at the equator it is of no or least or less effective. So meaning a vaccine is effective based on the geographical location in which you are. So if you are at equator, just like India or other countries, this is very less effective, but in UK, Norway, Sweden, in the upper latitudes, it is more effective. But Malawi, India, Kenya, it is not. So currently two vaccines, that is VPM and MIP, these two are under development in India. So remember that we are going through clinical trials also. There are certain diagnoses. So if you happen to have TB, that you must have heard that if more than a week or two, if you have cough, then you should go and check, or let's say have a test. So most likely you will get this sputum smear microscopy. Basically your sample will be collected, the sputum sample will be collected, and then microscopy will be conducted on it. But it takes a lot of time, it is time consuming, and it is also not specific. It does not basically identify multi-drug resistance or extreme drug resistance TBs, or it is not very specific. It is time taking, and it is a very old method of detecting TB, but it is one of the most famous. Then we have chest X-ray. This is also not very accurate. Then we have culture based TB detection. It is fairly accurate, but it takes a lot of money and time, and labs to be are required to test. So it is very expensive and also a little bit time taking. Then we have tuberculin test. It is a skin test, or let's say Montox test for TB diagnosis. This is also not very accurate, not very specific, and it also takes 2-3 days, and 2 visits are required for you to get tested. Tuberculin test. We have then advanced molecular tests. These tests are very specific tests, and these can detect the drug resistance also, because they are based out of nucleic acid, basically your DNA. So they are based out of nucleic acid of this bacteria, or let's say the virus, the bacteria that is causing. So nucleic acid amplification test is there, NAAT. Then we have cartridge based nucleic acid amplification test, CBNAAT. So nucleic acid amplification test, NAAC. Then we have cartridge based nucleic acid amplification test. Then we have line probe test. Line probe test is one of the most advanced tests, a test in which you use the RT-PCR or PCR, the same test that you applied for your COVID PCR, if you remember, polymerase chain reaction. So in simple terms, if I can be your friend and explain it to you, then some DNA will be taken from the bacteria, then we will amplify it what? Copy, photocopy करेंगे उसकी. जब हम उसकी फोटोकॉपी करेंगे, फोटोकॉपी करने के बाद वो हमें दिखा देगा कि ये ड्रग रेजिस्टेंस है कि नहीं. कैसे दिखाएगा? हम उसका एक एंटीबॉडी बनाएंगे, उसका फ्रेंड बनाएंगे, संगाती बनाएंगे, जोड़ीदार बनाएंगे, और जब उसको उस पर लगाएंगे तो कलर चेंज हो जाएगा. जब कलर चेंज होगा तो हमें पता चल जाएगा. सो दिस इज ऑल LPA or let's say CB-NAT or NAT. All these tests are molecular tests and very specific, very good, very quick. So these tests are there, and we have been promoting these tests very recently, and we have given a very good result in the diagnosis part. But there is an issue with the diagnosis. What is the issue with the diagnosis? You can tell. Imagine if you are telling that you are TB positive patient. What will happen with your life? Will you be able to go to job? Will your family member will hang out with you? Or socially you will be boycotted or not? You have said it right. So there is a lot of social stigma attached to TB. Now tell me, where you will go to get diagnosis for TB? You don't know the lab, you don't know, you know everything about blood tests and everything, but TB you don't know. So there is a lack of information also. So then also remember that TB is very daunting disease on the humans, and people with a compromised immune system, they get attracted towards it, or once they get TB and they start with the diagnosis and the treatment, their nutritional ability goes down and they do not have adequate diet to recover it. So there is another factor involved, that is nutrition in TB. Then there is gender in TB. So diagnosis is one step, first step. Why am I discussing here? Because diagnosis is where जांच कराने जाओगे, जांच कराते साथ ही क्या प्रॉब्लम आएगी? जांच कराते साथ ही प्रॉब्लम आएगी कि you will face economic challenges, you will face social challenges, you will, if you are gender, if you are associated with, let's say, women folk, then you will face another challenge. You will face a lot of discrimination also. So all these things are there with TB. Now, if you start your treatment, what drugs you are going to get? So you are going to get two kinds of drugs: first line drugs, second line drugs. What are the first line drugs? Remember, for your prelims, there are certain drugs which are called first line drugs for TB. Streptomycin, remember streptomycin, very OG drug, very old drug, one of the first drugs to be discovered. This streptomycin, if my memory serves me well, this streptomycin has saved one of the greatest basically folk, or let's say Shastriya, classical singer from the early independence time of India. Kumar Gandharv, the name of the singer is Kumar Gandharv. He was diagnosed with TB and streptomycin, I think, saved him. So streptomycin is very old drug, but streptomycin, rifamycin, isoniazid, then we have pyrazinamide, then we have ethambutol. What we have? Ethambutol. Then ethambutol, or ethambutol. So are the most effective and least toxic for use in the treatment of TB. Then we have second line of drug. The second line drug are not the easy drugs. They are very, very effective drug, but very toxic drug. We have ethionamide D, cycloserine, then we have ciprofloxacin, we have ofloxacin, then we have kanamycin, then we have amikacin, then we have biomycin and cepromycin. So capromycin. We have all these drugs as a second line drug. Try to remember a little bit, make a trick out of it. These are less effective, more expensive, and have higher toxicities. They are, however, essential for the treatment of drug resistant form of bacteria, that is MDR TB. So ड्रग रेजिस्टेंस के लिए काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंट होती हैं सेकंड लाइन की. ये इतनी इफेक्टिव नहीं होती जितनी कि फर्स्ट लाइन की इफेक्टिव होती हैं. और सेकंड लाइन की इंपॉर्टेंट क्यों है? MDR के लिए, मल्टी ड्रग रेजिस्टेंस TB के लिए. लेकिन ये मल्टी ड्रग रेजिस्टेंस TB है क्या? रेजिस्टेंस कहाँ से आ गई? TB डिसीज थी, रेजिस्टेंस कहाँ से आ गई? तो रिमेंबर, बैक्टीरिया इज वेरी स्मार्ट. It is very smart. When you go and take antibacterial medicine, that is you are trying to kill a bacteria, what it will do? It will try to protect itself. Very logical, very evolutionary. In this nature, whenever somebody has tried to kill any organisms, they have tried to protect themselves. So bacteria also does that. When you take medicine, you don't take the full dose. 5 days are written, you take only 3 days, you are okay, you move on. What will happen? The some bacteria that is left in your body will develop resistance to that drug by way of maybe genetic modification, by way of learning how to survive, by way of changing the cell wall, by way of changing other protein production in their body. So there are different methods of drug resistance, but they will develop. So there are different types of drug resistance. Mono resistance, as you have guessed it, one of the first line anti-TB drug that you are resistant to. Then we have poly resistance. So one or more of the first line TB drug that you are resistant to, except that you are not resistant to isoniazid and rifampicin. Then we have MDR, that is important, multi-drug resistance. You understood multi-drug resistance, meaning there are resistance to many drugs. Many drugs are isoniazid and rifampicin. You are resistant to both also. So these are called MDR. From there question came. So extensive drug resistant, XDR, and rifampicin resistance. So rifampicin is basically if you are resistant to rifampicin, whether it is mono, poly or anything, so it will be called rifampicin resistance. And extensive drug resistance will be called that you are basically resistance to any of the fluoroquinolone, you are resistant to them, and then at least one of the 3 second line injectable drugs like sapromycin, kanamycin and amikacin. So these are 3 injectable drugs and you are resistant to them. So it is called extensive drug resistance for you. Now, all this diagnosis and everything has happened. Treatment we have seen, medicine we have seen, there are issues associated with TB, stigma is there, all that we have seen. Now let us come to all this data and facts. Remember, all these articles have all these issues mentioned in them. So I am trying to build up a story. Now there is a data that India TB report is there. It says that in 2022 and 2015 we have seen a 16% decline, 15 to 22, from 200 per lakh patient to from 237 in 2015 to 200 lakh per lakh mark. So 1 लाख में 200 लोगों के लिए ही टीबी है अभी, पहले 1 लाख में 237 लोगों के लिए थी, इतना याद रख लो, ठीक है. देन सिमिलरली टीबी मोर्टेलिटी वाज 23 पर lakh population at 18% decline compared to 2015. So obviously it will come down. तो मरने की जो रेट है वो भी अब कम हो गई, 23 पर लाख हो गई है. 1 लाख में 23 लोग टीबी से मर जाते हैं. ट्रीटमेंट सक्सेस रेट देख लें तो भाई ट्रीटमेंट सक्सेस रेट टीबी इंडेक्स है दैट मेजर्स performance of states in the fight against TB. So we see that Himachal and Odisha and Gujarat they have shown great results, but Karnataka, Punjab and Bihar has not shown such a great result. But overall we are improving when it comes to response to the drug and when it comes to incident of the disease itself. Then as per Global Tuberculosis Report 2024, globally if we look at, then we have 1.25 million people dying because of TB in 2023, including 1,61,000 or let's say 161,000 dying HIV patient dying because of TB. So it is one of the major cause of people with HIV dying. They die because they contract TB and then they die, because TB basically takes up all your immune system. It takes up all of your nutritional value. And worldwide TB is the world leading death from a single infectious disease. Remember this also. It was also leading killer of people with HIV, major cause of death related to antimicrobial resistance. This is one of the menace. Antimicrobial resistance is one of the menace of the world. We need to get hang of it, because it takes so many years to develop a drug after clinical tests and everything, but because of patients not taking drugs seriously and not completing the course, they develop this MDR, this multi-drug resistance or anti-medicine resistance, and then the drug become ineffective. Now tell me in the comment section, what is superbug? What is superbug? There is important term that is related to drug resistance, superbug. Tell me what is it. Then estimated 10 million people fell ill with TB worldwide, including 6 million children, 3.6 million women and 1.3 million children. Now TB is present in all countries. TB is also, remember, multi-drug resistance, TB remains a public health crisis and health security threat. Only about 2 out of 5 people with drug resistant TB access treatment to in 2023. Remember, 2 out of 5 got treatment. MDR wale. MDR. So as a solution you can improve that. So access to treatment is one of the solutions. This all, see, fact and data is not just to be remembered. Fact and data is to be argued also. So you can argue that okay, there is a solution, but that more people can get treatment. Now global efforts require 79 million people have been saved since 2000. That's an achievement. 22 billion US dollar are needed to achieve that 2027 target agreed upon 2030 UN high level meeting on TB. Then UN Sustainable Development Goals says that we will end this epidemic by 2030. What India has done, India has launched NTP in 1962, that is called National TB Program with VCG vaccination. Then from there we had TCP, that is Revised National Tuberculosis Program, because there was a global TB emergency in 1993. Then we have DOTS strategy from WHO. This was basically nothing but individually directed TB program, where we will direct all these patients, we will inform them, we will ask them to take medicine. There will be whole lot of help provided to them, and that DOTS led to then NSP and NSP elimination. NSP basically nothing but National Strategic Plan for Universal Diagnosis and Treatment 2012 to 17. Then we have 2017 to 25 elimination. Then it is renamed as NTEP, National TB Elimination Program, and it is coming up with new ideas, new drug combinations. We will discuss that drug combination soon enough. So this was a clear brief basically evolution of the TB program that is running in India. But we have achieved a lot through these basically strategies. That we have achieved what? We have achieved that 17.7% decline in TB incidence in India from 237, which I have discussed already, and it is now 195. So earlier I have shared the data of 2022. Now 2023, this data goes beyond to 195. This was 200 in 2022. 2015, it was 237. So this is a great leap forward, and then we see reduction in the death also. Moving ahead, if we see some initiative, you see that there are initiative of like molecular testing of rapid detection of TB and drug resistance. So I have discussed these NAAT, then cartridge directed NAAT, then we have PLA. All these I have discussed earlier. So all these have been initiated. So we have another BPALM, that is combination of 4 drugs: bedaquiline, petromyinide and linazoles, and moxifloxacin. So all these 4 drugs are combined together and given orally for a less period of time. So remember, with TB drugs, the issue is that they are taken for a longer period of time, and they are injectable also, which were causing a lot of trouble for people. So because see, injection, who will give injection? A health worker will give injection, so people will not come to them. So we are giving oral now. So we have first of all less time के लिए दे रहे हैं, दूसरा हम orally दे रहे हैं उनको mostly, and ये less toxic है, ताकि टीबी का जो बेसिकली एलिमिनेशन है हो सके. देन वी हैव निक्षय डबलिंग, निक्षय पोषण योजना. निक्षय पोषण योजना इज नथिंग बट न्यूट्रिशन इन टीबी. सो वी हैव इनिशिएटेड अ निक्षय पोषण अभियान इन विच वी आर गिविंग 1000 rupees a month so that they can buy good stuff for them to eat. Then we are rolling out TB preventing therapy, prevention के लिए, and then we are expanding the community involvement, TB survivor and TB champions. Nikshay Mitra is also a scheme which we are launching so that people who have cured from TB, they can motivate others to take drug and get rid of that disease. So PM TB Mukt Bharat Abhiyan is also there. That is a community reach out program. Then we have challenges like diagnostic delays, treatment, lack of treatment adherence. Then we have stigma associated with this. Then we have economic independence का issue, गरीबी है, people are not able to afford the private care, or let's say they are not able to eat good food. Then we have challenges like access to information, nutrition care, and due to societal and individual behavioral patterns around age. Then we have gaps in data and reporting and other things. Then we have challenges to NTAP also. Then we have understaffed public health system. We have lack of facility and training. Then we have issue with patient monitoring, because after they get disease, we have to monitor them. We have issue with death in private hospital, because in government hospital we have a lot of protocols established, but in the private hospitals these protocols are not that followed. We need to basically as a solution, we need to combine these two things. That in private hospital you get a better environment, you get a better approach towards TB, but in the government you have a better free medicine available. Then you have a protocol that somebody will follow you. So if we can combine with these two, a good environment and a good protocol can solve all the problem. Then we have certain drugs like anti-TB 555 that is only available in the Sarkari hospital. So this is being misused, and there are some solutions like mentioned in the articles only, that person-centered care should be taken care of. Like Tamil Nadu, it detected certain vulnerable people and saved them from TB. Then we have recognizing intersectionalities, sex, religion, caste, age, all these things should be taken care when it comes to TB response. Then we should have integrated healthcare. For example, if you are affecting with TB, you should be given a psychological consideration, and asthma tests should also be done. And then other test, if you are a woman, if you are suffering from HIV, then you should be given HIV test also. So all these integrated approach should be there, not silos, in approach in silos. Then we should have reducing out of pocket expenditure. Now that it's a good thing that Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana and other initiative, global initiative, diagnostic, let's say all India initiative are being are incorporating TB in their program. That is really good. Then you should have awareness and stigma reduction as a community outreach we should do. Now, discussing all these things, attempt this question. UPSC will ask or maybe asking a question on TB very soon in recent years, or let's say drug resistance very soon. So prepare it well. And this is from me, and we will meet again in some other day in the next session of Daily News Analysis. Good luck. Goodbye. Thank you.